Now, a record heat wave is sweeping across parts of southern and eastern Asia. Many countries have recorded the hottest April on record. Millions of people are still battling the punishing heat, and the soaring temperatures have forced school closures in some regions. And authorities are taking other precautionary measures to avoid heat stroke and dehydration.
Free mobile showers help beat the heat in Manila. They've been supplied by local government officials to residents facing power and water shortages amid the soaring temperatures. Humans are not the only ones struggling to keep cool. Vets in India say more pets than usual are coming in after succumbing to heat-related illnesses.
Presently, we have seen that every out of 10 dogs, 3 dogs is coming with the heat stress. Colorations of the tongue, heavy break rate of the eyes, tremor, convulsions are there.
In southern Vietnam, hundreds of thousands of fish have died in a reservoir. Locals say the heatwave and bad water management are to blame. In affected parts of Asia, sales of air conditioners have rocketed, which has sent prices soaring. For those who cannot afford electric cooling devices, like many Rohingya refugees living in camps in Bangladesh, there's no escape from the extreme temperatures.
We don't have a fan in our shanty. We don't have the money to buy the one that runs with solar. We're having difficult days amid this heat.
There have been reports of heat stroke and dehydration within the camps and heat rashes among the children. In India, slum dwellers also describe harsh conditions.
The houses are made of asbestos, the roofs using metal which absorb a lot of heat. We can't stay in our houses even for an hour, and we can't eat comfortably.
Communities like these will have to find ways to adapt in the years ahead, as scientists say climate change is increasing the frequency and duration of extreme heat events.
And we can get more on the story from environmental lawyer and climate activist Rafay Alam, who joins us now from Lahore in Pakistan. Welcome to DW. It's very clear that heat waves make life really tough on people, but can you help us understand how they are affecting our ecosystems?
Thank you, Anya, for having me on your show. This last April was the hottest in recorded history, and we are approaching the coolest summer of the rest of our lives. Heat waves are going to impact crop productivity around the world. This will lead to food shortages and increasing food prices. Heat waves are going to damage ecosystems. I live in South Asia, which is home of the Hindu Kush, Karakoram, and Himalayan mountain ranges, the third pole, the third largest collection of fresh water in the world, which supplies up to 16 transboundary rivers, which could dry up as a result, leading to water availability shortages for agriculture, for energy, and also for domestic consumption.
So can I just interrupt you, because that's really, that's a big deal, isn't it? You're saying that thousands, millions of people could be without water within the coming years, is that right?
Yes, we face extreme water shortages going forward. ISIMOD has reported that if we reach 2 degrees of global warming, which scientists say that we will by the middle of this century, up to 65% of those glaciers can melt. Beyond that, we have heat waves in urban areas. I live in Pakistan, where in 2014, a one-week heat wave claimed over 1,000 lives. And unless we start doing things to make sure urban areas especially have heat wave management plans and protections for their citizens, I'm afraid millions of people could be at risk of increasing temperatures.
So, Rafay, what is it that governments need to be doing now to tackle this climate crisis?
Well, first and foremost, governments around the world have to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, the gases that trap the sun's heat in the atmosphere and cause global warming. But I don't know whether we can do this, because presently there's enough greenhouse gases in the atmosphere to lock in a 1.5 degree temperature increase by the end of this decade. That said, we must take measures now to protect people and animals and ecosystems from devastation. For example, for crops, we need to have heat-resistant seeds developed by scientists. And in urban areas, as I mentioned, heat wave management plans, places for people to go where there's shade and shelter. And beyond that, also electricity to provide for climate cooling. We need to change the way our cities are designed so that there's less cement being used and more trees and shade.
And can I ask you, Rafay, I mean, industrialised countries are responsible for the majority of greenhouse gases. Are they doing enough to help the more vulnerable developing countries?
Well, the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change was signed in 1992 with the objective of stabilizing greenhouse gas emissions. And unfortunately, we on Earth have produced more greenhouse gases since than we have in all of history before. We know that industrialized nations, industrialized economies, the global north, are responsible for the majority of historical greenhouse gas emissions. And these countries have failed to live up to their promises to the international community to reduce their greenhouse gases, and beyond that, to provide poorer countries with the climate finance necessary so that they can prepare and adapt to the oncoming climate challenges that they face. There seems to be plenty of money for warfare, for Pakistan, for Ukraine, for Israel, but not for climate change and for climate resilience projects.
Rafay Alam, environmental lawyer and climate activist, thank you so much for your time today.